Hello and welcome to this tutorial on the OER Commons Word template. This video will go over the example template, which was designed to fill the metadata fields in the OER Commons site so that your work can be uploaded and easily found. You will also learn how to create your own Word template so that you can produce a stable or unchangeable document. Being able to create a stable document can make things like conforming to ADA compliances easier. The first thing that you want to do is go to File, Options, Customize Ribbon, and check this little box that says Developer if it's not checked already, and OK. And now up in your toolbar here you'll see that there is a Developer tab. So the first thing that you'll see in my template is an ADA compliancy checklist. This is to ensure that the work being uploaded is accessible to all users. The work you create should check off all boxes that apply. This checklist and how to create an ADA compliant Word document are reviewed in a separate video. I created this checklist by going over to Developer and then clicking on this checkbox here. So you can add a new checkbox in simply by clicking on the box. If you click over with your right arrow, you'll come out of the box being selected, and if you press space you can then type whatever it is that you want, and when you click on the box it'll be checked or X'd, and you can edit the boxes to your liking by selecting the box, coming back up to your toolbar and clicking on Properties, and then you can change things like whether or not you want the symbol to be X'd or checked. I personally like the way checked looks, so I come up here and change it and make it a checked box instead, and give it another box at the same size. And now when I check my box, it's a check instead of an X. So you can play around with it and figure out what your preference is, as long as it works. So that is the check boxes. Now if we scroll down past the compliancy checklist, we have the fields for the OER Commons. So since there are pretty much set fields for everything, I put in drop-down lists for most of these. So you can see here it says Education Standards and it says Choose an Item. If I click on that, there's a drop-down list and I get to pick whichever education standard the assignment complies with. So we'll just say it's that one. Okay, great. Now here, for example, in subject area, this one's a little bit different, and I have a combination of those checked boxes and those drop-downs, and that is because subject area had main choices and then sub-choices, and this seemed like the easiest way to do it. So play around with your templates and decide what you think is best. So say that the subject is physical science. So you would check it, and then you would choose whether it's astronomy, atmospheric science, chemistry, etc. So let's say it's oceanography. Great, so that part is filled in now. And so we already went over how to do the check boxes. If you want to add in one of these drop boxes, you can come up back to this Developer tab, and if you click on Drop-Down List Content Control, it'll put it in. So once it's been put in, you go back up to Properties, and you can edit it from there. So you would put in the title, you would add whatever fields you want to add, blah, okay, and it adds it in. So once you click OK, now if I click on my drop down, blah is one of the choices. So that is how you create it. And you can also, ones you've already created, you can go back and edit the same way, just selecting, clicking on Properties, And you can see this one is titled Education Standards, and these are the drop-down choices that I've added in. And if I want to add something else, I can. If I want to highlight and remove one, I can. If this one I want to put higher up on the list, I can move it up, or I can move it back down, and so on and so forth. So that is how you create the drop-down lists. And then again, here, most of them are pretty self-explanatory. For material type, I chose, again, the checkboxes because you can put in more than one material type. So you would just check all that apply. And now moving down to these additional filters. So most of these, actually I think all of them, yeah, so all of them are made as text fill-ins. So, for example, you have here the first one is overview. So if you want to create a stable document that people can't edit but need to be able to write into, this is how you would do it. So here for overview, overview is something that you need to put a little bit of a description of what your material is about. So once the box is put in, you can just click in and say, this is what this lesson is about, etc. And once it's in, it stays there. So the way to add in one of these text boxes is, again, you'll want to, oops, I think I have it grouped together. Okay. You'll want to add, come back up to this developer tab, and up here, and you can see there's a whole bunch of different tools, so play around with them and see which ones work for what you need to do. For this one, I chose the plain text content control, clicked it, and that's it. I didn't do any other editing to it, which of course you can do by clicking on properties. You can give it a title and things like that. I chose not to do that. I didn't think it was necessary, so it's left just plain here. And then some of these fields down here, these additional filters, are a little bit redundant. So here, material type, same as material type above. And so you could fill those in if you want, or leave it blank, and the person can defer back up to the top for the repetitive ones. So all of these, just so you know where they came from, we start with these searchable fields here. So if you go to the oercommons.org website and you search through the resources, so we're just going to pick something, and you search through the resources, you see that on the left-hand side, the filters are education standards, subject area, education level, etc., down to language. So that is what I filled in here. And where it's subject area and it has those subcategories, again, they're the same thing. So here is applied science, plus sign, here are those sub-subjects. And then, when you scroll down in the document, these additional filters and resource specifications, these are all of the fields that you can see over here. So you can use these as additional filters. So if you see here, it says the subject is career and technical education, you can just click right on that. And as you can see, it adds in the filter. So now it's giving me things that have that designated subject. And if I click on the resource. So here it shows some of the fields are filled and some of them aren't. Here's that overview, subject, level, etc. Then you have license, language, media format, all of that is in here. And then towards the bottom we have standards, and that was pulled from this area here. So this particular resource doesn't have that filled in. Let's see if we can just find one that does. I think this one might. Okay, yes, here so you can see the person put in some standards, and some people fill them in more than others, but at least there'll be something in that field as well. Cluster, standard, and that's it. So the last step in creating this stable template is you want to lock it. And locking it ensures that it remains stable so that no one else can mess around with what you've done. And I have made my entire document ADA compliant. As you can see, I have my font set to Verdana size 12, and then I used headings and subheadings for everything. So that's all in there. I'm pleased with how it looks. So now I want to make it so that it's just fillable and nobody else can edit it other than filling in the information that I want them to fill in. So you'll go back to Developer. You'll click Restrict Editing. And this number 2 box here that says Editing Restrictions allow only this type of editing in the document. You can select what you want. So for this, actually it's not letting me select for this, but right now it's filling in forms. So you're going to check that box so that people can only fill in the forms. Now if you really wanted to, you could end it here. However, if someone is savvy enough to get here and uncheck that box, they can still edit it too. So if you want to stop that from happening, you want to say yes, start enforcing protection, and it's going to ask you to put in a password. So try to make it something simple that you'll remember. Confirm the password and OK. So now the document is completely protected and it can't be edited at all, only filled in. So that's it. And that is how you create a template in Microsoft Word so that you can make a template for ADA compliant documents and not have to edit things constantly. If you make it, nice and easy and fillable and something that other people can contribute to, then you don't have to worry as much about having to go back and edit it and fix things and make sure it's all there, because it'll all be there and ready for you. So I hope you found this tutorial helpful and useful, and thanks for watching.